Is Lon Chaney, Freddy Krueger, or any of the great classic horror stars on the phone in the form of an ERISA disability adjuster or claims examiner? What are the 5 mistakes that you can make dealing with the horror of a disability call? Well, this is one of my favorite topics. It's not uncommon for ERISA disability adjusters or even IDI disability adjusters to call you in the course of the claim. You've got an obligation to cooperate with them, but I think you can make 5 mistakes that can destroy your claim in the course of a phone call. Number 1, failing to record the call. Now, you should insist that the call be recorded so that there is a contemporaneous, accurate record of who said what. And number 2, you want to ask for a copy of that recording. I know that there are certain states in which there has to be consent, and if you live in one of those states, you want to make sure you've got the consent of the disability carrier to record the conversation. Well, what's number 2? Failing to take notes during the call. Now, some carriers will refuse to allow you to record the conversation, and you should be taking notes. And you should request that the call be rescheduled so that either you can take the notes or that you can have somebody present who is going to be taking notes. So you've got a witness to the call. You want to make sure that the call is on speakerphone and that someone who might be recording the conversation is someone that you trust and that they're making contemporaneous notes, memorializing what you were asked and what you said. Number 3 is feeling like you have to answer each question. And there are times that you may simply not know the answer to the question, and you might be tempted to guess in an effort to appear cooperative and to convince the carrier of the severity of your disability. If you guess wrong, you've created the impression that you're a liar. And if you have to later correct that answer, it just gets worse. So if you don't know the answer, say, I don't know the answer, but I will get back to you with the answer. Let them know that you may have to research the answer to that question, but you're going to get back to them, and you will get back to them. Now, there are going to be questions that you clearly know the answer to, like what doctors you've seen recently, what appointments are coming up, whether you've returned to work, whether you've applied for Social Security disability benefits. You can safely answer those questions, but keep a record of what the answers were. Number 4, failing to ask them to put certain questions in writing. They're going to be asking questions about what you do during a typical day, how much driving do you do, whether you do yard work, and similar questions about your activities. These questions are a setup to create inconsistency between what you put on the activity of daily living forms and what might be in your medical records and what might be on social media. So I suggest that you ask the disability carrier to put those types of questions in writing so that you can look at what you've put on the activity of daily living form, what you may have told the doctor in the medical records, and make sure that your answers are consistent and honest and truthful and are not an exaggeration of your level of activity. Take your time in preparing a response. Put it aside, and then a couple days later review it, or better yet, have somebody like me review it. Number 5 is failing to realize that this is an unscheduled call designed to catch you in a weak moment. And don't you think it's funny that a disability care didn't arrange a specific time to speak with you, but just out of the blue decided to call you to check on, how you're doing, like they really care how you're doing. You might be tempted to just rush through this phone call, and that's a mistake. Or you may say, I have to go pick up my daughter. I may have to do this. I may have to do that. And you've just told the carrier that potentially you're more active than your doctor knows or that you've put on these forms. So you can see that these are huge mistakes that can result in a claim denial or a claim termination because these friendly calls continue once you're on claim. It's not a social call, and we don't want it to end up being a horror call. If you have any questions about your rights to your ERISA disability benefits, call me today at 727-894-3188 for a complimentary consultation. If your claim has been denied or terminated, we'll only have 120 days in which to file an appeal. So call us 727-894-3188.